On my birthday, my mom left a voicemail saying, "Don't expect a call. We're busy celebrating real family." So, I logged into the joint account they forgot I still had access to, transferred every last cent, sold the spare car in my name, and left a final gift, an eviction notice with my signature at the bottom. Hey, Reddit, throwaway. Obviously, I've been stewing in this for a while, and after what happened on my birthday last week, I figured it was time to write it out. Maybe it'll be therapy, maybe it'll be closure, or maybe I just want people to know I didn't snap without reason. I, 26M, grew up in what people from the outside would call a normal family: 2 parents, a younger sister, a decent house in the suburbs. But behind the Christmas cards and the matching family outfits was a clear and painful hierarchy. My sister, Melanie, 24F, was the golden child. I was the one they put up with when I got straight A's. Well, you're supposed to. You're the older one. When Melanie passed one math test, there were balloons, cake, and a trip to Olive Garden. When I got into college on a partial scholarship, we'll help with some of the costs, but don't expect handouts. When Melanie dropped out of nursing school to find herself, suddenly Dad was co-signing loans for her photography business and Mom was posting every blurry flower pic like it was Ansel Adams reborn. I'm not bitter, or at least I wasn't. 3 years ago, I moved out and landed a decent IT job after college. I got tired of scraping by in my shoebox apartment, so I swallowed my pride and moved back in temporarily to save for a down payment on a condo. My parents were thrilled to have me home until it became clear I wasn't just going to be a silent ATM. They wanted rent. I paid it on time every month. Utilities? I covered internet and half the electric. Groceries? I bought mine, and somehow my leftovers always vanished by morning. They never asked where my money went, but I could tell they were watching. Then one day, I noticed something weird: a new car in the driveway. Not for them, for Melanie. She needed something reliable. Mom said, when I asked, "Besides, you already have a car." She blinked. Yeah, because I bought it. I paid for that car with years of rideshare gigs and after-hours freelancing. Meanwhile, Melanie was living rent-free in the guest house, posting Instagram stories about hustle culture while waking up at noon. Still, I said nothing. I did my thing, saved, worked, kept my head down. That brings us to last week, my birthday. Not a text, not a card, not a knock on my door, nothing. I thought maybe they were busy, maybe it would come later. But then around 4 p.m., my phone buzzed, voicemail from Mom. "Don't expect a call today. We're busy celebrating real family. Hope you figure your life out someday." I stared at my screen for a full minute. Real family? Like I was the houseguest they forgot to kick out. I sat there in silence in the tiny bedroom I paid for, in a house they technically owned, but they'd forgotten one little thing about the joint account. Back when I was in high school, my parents opened a checking account for college savings. It had both their names on it, but after freshman year they stopped using it. I never closed it, neither did they. It had become a forgotten relic until I logged in. The balance? $8,214.33. Apparently, they'd been using it to shuttle money between accounts. Dumb move. In that moment, something in me snapped, not in a loud, violent way, just a quiet, surgical one. I made a plan, and it started with a transfer. I didn't storm out. I didn't yell. I didn't even respond to the voicemail. Instead, I logged into the old joint account using the same login they forgot I still had. It wasn't hidden, just sitting there in my banking dashboard like a relic no one had bothered to bury. Over $8,000. I'm guessing they'd been moving money around without thinking twice. Maybe Melanie's business expenses. Maybe some slush fund they thought no one would notice. I stared at that number for a long time. They always told me to be responsible, to earn what I wanted, to stop asking for things. Fine. I took that advice literally. In less than 5 minutes, I transferred every last cent into my personal savings. It was clean, legal, and entirely within my rights. My name was still on the account. Then I logged out, cleared the browser, and sat there in the silence of my tiny room, their spare bedroom with a cheap light fixture that flickered when the AC kicked in. A week earlier, I'd had the foresight to check the title on the spare car sitting in the driveway. It was technically theirs, but the car had been bought in my name during my sophomore year of college when my dad's credit was shot and mine was just decent enough to qualify. They paid the down payment, but I made most of the payments for the next 2 years. Then I stopped, assuming they'd refinance it in their name. They didn't. That car was still legally mine. The next morning, I took it to a dealership, signed the title over, and walked out with just under $9,000 after trade-in and some negotiation. I could have gotten more selling privately, but speed mattered more than top dollar. That car had Melanie's Instagram stickers all over the back. It was personal now. I came home around noon. No one was there. The family had gone out for Melanie's post-birthday recovery brunch. Perfect. I went to my room, pulled out the documents I'd been sitting on for months, the ones I hadn't wanted to use unless absolutely necessary. A formal eviction notice as the legal co-owner of the house. Yes, that's another thing they forgot when they added me to the deed 5 years ago to get a better refinancing rate. I had just enough power to initiate the process. I filled out the form, filed the digital version, printed a physical copy, and walked to the kitchen counter, the one Mom always kept clear for her wine and Melanie's keys, and left it right in the middle. No note, no explanation, just the header in bold, notice to vacate. It was time they finally celebrated someone who had earned their place, me. They got home around 3 p.m. I was in my room with the door closed, backpack by my side, clothes folded neatly in a duffel. I wasn't going to wait around for the fallout. I didn't want to witness the rage, just the aftermath. At first, it was quiet. The thump of heels on tile, the refrigerator door opening, someone complaining about oat milk. Then the silence broke. My mother's voice cracked the stillness like a whip, her tone sharp and rising. "What is this?" Followed by a paper slap against the counter. Then silence, heavy and loaded. Seconds later, footsteps stormed down the hall. My door burst open before I could even stand. She didn't knock. Her eyes were wild, not confused, but furious. My dad followed behind her, more cautious. Less volatile, but definitely not neutral. She asked if this was some kind of joke, if I thought it would make me feel important. I didn't answer. My dad asked if I'd lost my mind, if I really thought I had the right. I told him I hadn't lost anything, I had simply taken back what was mine. The account, the car, the house, every single thing they had used, borrowed, or abused that was tied to my name. I had simply collected. No interest, no vengeance, just ownership. My mom kept talking. Her voice shrill, her eyes wide like I'd betrayed her. She called me ungrateful, said I was just like your Uncle David, which I guess is her code for anyone who stops funding the circus. Then she said it, if it wasn't for us, you wouldn't have anything. I smiled, not smugly, just quietly. Then I picked up my bags, brushed past her, and walked out the front door without a single word. They didn't follow, but the call started an hour later. First my dad, straight to voicemail, then Mom, over and over. By the end of the night, I had 18 missed calls, 5 voicemails, and 1 text from Melanie that said, "Nice move, you'll regret this." She had no idea, because by then I was sitting in my new condo, paid in full, paperwork finalized 3 days prior. I'd just been waiting for the right moment to leave. My own place, no one else on the lease, no shared walls, no shared rooms, no shared accounts. I opened a beer, turned off my phone, and smiled, finally free. They say silence is louder than words. I never understood that until I stopped replying. 3 weeks passed, not a single text back from me, not a return call. I left every voicemail unplayed, every group chat archived. I didn't block them, that would have been too easy. I wanted them to see the message was delivered. Read, ignored. Melanie tried first. She posted cryptic Instagram stories about snakes in the family and some people never grow up. One of them had a blurry shot of an eviction notice crumpled on a floor. I watched, quiet and detached, sipping coffee from a real mug in a place where my name was the only one on the deed. Then the letters came. An envelope with my father's handwriting arrived at my new place. It wasn't an apology, not really. It was a request. They wanted time to talk things out. Said they were willing to be civil if I was. They claimed the eviction was unnecessary. Said Melanie was just stressed, and asked if we could all sit down as a family again. But here's the thing, I never stopped wanting a family. I just stopped wanting them. They didn't want to talk things out when I was cleaning dishes on my birthday or when they poured champagne for Melanie's latest milestone. They weren't interested in fairness when I worked double shifts to keep the house lights on while they shopped for a new deck setup. They never thought about real family when they made it clear that I was just the extra, the body who paid, stayed quiet, and didn't expect to be celebrated. So, no, I didn't write back. Instead, I made one final move. I sold my share of the house, not to them, but to a private investor. Quiet cash deal. Nothing illegal, just business. The kind of business you conduct when the people who raised you treat you like an ATM with ears. 3 weeks later, they received their own notice to vacate, this time from someone they didn't know and couldn't guilt. Market rate rent. No deals, no exceptions. I heard through a cousin that they'd moved into a rental across town, smaller, less curated, and Melanie was still waiting on someone else to finance her next glow-up. As for me, I spent my next birthday in Barcelona. No calls, no drama, just good food, better people, and a sunrise that didn't demand anything from me. Because real family, they don't need reminders, they show up. If you enjoyed this story and want more epic tales of revenge, family drama, and justice served cold, don't forget to hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe for new stories every week. Tap the bell so you never miss the next twist, because trust me, we're just getting started.